Good morning. Uh, it's Friday. It's actually a very beautiful Friday out. But it's Friday, May 26th. It is 10 a.m. or almost 10. I figure, I'd come on a little bit early today, like a couple minutes, because I'm usually a couple minutes late. But anyway, this is Morning Tea with me, Sensei Mish. Some good tea. So how are all of you this wonderful Friday? Oops, I don't want to show that one. I'm trying to click stuff off as they pop up. Okay, so one of my favorite little adventures has been happening for the last couple weeks. I think I mentioned something about it a couple weeks ago, but it's gotten so much more fun. So I can't remember exactly how much or where this was or how much of the story I've told, but basically, good morning. So I'll try and keep this short, even though like I have a whole cup of tea in almost an hour. So so May 1st, I had these two women come into the school, and they basically tried to sell me, or they successfully sold me on switching over my credit card processors, because I use Stripe because it's seamless. I don't have any monthly payments. My fee is a little bit high. The per transaction fee is a little bit higher, but then again, I don't have any monthly payments. So part of my stipulations with these women on selling me with this company, and she's like, big company, we can save you money, we're local. I'm like, okay. So I said, I'll switch over and I'll use you guys under two conditions. Number one, no monthly payments, 0 monthly payments. And number two, your service has to work with the software I have on my website, because I'm not changing that. Everything is all kind of set. I like it. And they're like, well, we work with all of these different gateways, so we most likely there's like a 99% chance that we have a gateway that will work with your online thing. And I was like, okay. And so they had what was it? They had they're like, oh, they asked if I had a POS system, which is a point of sale system. I said, no. I said, I do everything off my website. I said, I do have an iPad and a credit card reader here in the school for those, just in case, like, somebody's like, oh, I hold a seminar and they want to pay with a credit card at the location, or maybe somebody buys a book or whatever, but it's like very rare that I use this. So anyway, but they're like, oh, well, since you already have stuff, our tech team will get that integrated into the system. So I'm like, yay. Okay, cool. So as they're doing this quote, they save me 0.9%, which, 3% to 2%, not bad. Like I'm, saving a whole percentage point. And, but on their quote, there was this, equipment fee for $49. And I said, well, what's that? And they're like, oh, well, that's not going to count because you don't need equipment. And, but that is, it's all part of the thing. It's not going to be a monthly fee, because that was my stipulation. No monthly fees. Okay. And even where it says statement, it says 0. So I had 0 monthly fees. And so they get me set up pretty quick. We start the setup process, and I ended up talking to one of my customer service gal, and she's pushing me on this hardware. And I'm like, I'm not going to use it. I don't need it. This is what I was told. These are just in case purposes, just in case the power goes out. What do you mean just in case the power goes out? Just in case the power goes out? Like, I do everything off my website. Power would have to go out in Virginia for my website to go down. So anyway, so I'm like, fine, send it to me, but I guarantee you I will not be opening the package. So a couple days later, I get the package for FedEx. I ended up talking to, in the meantime, I ended up talking to a tech guy who actually listened to me, and we were talking about all the different gateways that would work. And the only gateway that ended up working with my membership software charges $12 a month. Monthly fee, $12 a month. And I said, well, that's not going to work. We might as well just stop the setup process right here, because one of my big stipulations was no monthly fees, done. And he's like, well, why don't we do this? He says, let's see if we can't get that, maybe, your per transaction fee will go a little bit higher, but for the most part, he says, we'll I know we could probably get this $12 monthly fee just like put into absorbed into your transaction fees. Okay. And he says, well, I'll have somebody here back, somebody call back tomorrow. Nobody called me back the next day. But the day after that, I'm working on my billing, and I notice a $53.26 charge from this Cascade equipment thing. And I'm like, well, I haven't bought anything for that much. I said, what, kind of curious what it is. So I call my rep and I'm like, hey, Stephanie, is this related to you guys? I'm just curious. And, because my big stipulation was no monthly fees. And she's like, and she confirms, yes, it is. It's for the equipment that she forced on me. And I said, okay, well, is this a one-time fee? Because even though I wouldn't be okay with a one-time fee, I could kind of be okay with a one-time fee, but I was still like, you pushed this equipment on me. I said I didn't need it. But she's like, no, that's a monthly fee. Yeah, no, I'm done. Like, no. And I may have yelled at her. But I didn't like roar, angry yell. I was very stern with her. So, if you're one of those little warm and fuzzy, sensitive people, it could have seemed like yelling, but I really stood my ground and I was like, absolutely no, this is not going to work. I told you I didn't need it. You forced it on me, blah, 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 blah. And so I said, I want the charges reversed. I want to be I want that money back. We're just going to stop this now, because I haven't even used their service. Like the setup, like during the setup process, twice I have found that there's going to be monthly fees. So I said, no. I said, you guys have misled me. You've lied to me. I'm done. I'm done. And I said, I have the hardware. Where do I return it? Like, I'll fucking drive to you. So so she's like, well, let me reach out to my bosses and I'll let you know. Okay. So that was in the morning of the 10th. I went, and I think that was a Wednesday. Yes, it was a Wednesday, because I did that. And then I went and I taught my Boys and Girls Club class. So then so then from there, I just went up to the school, grabbed the package, put it in the truck. And I basically went after the class, I went from Burton, and because it's a local company, I just dropped it off at their local office. So I walk in, I was like, yeah, is Stephanie around? Well, apparently Stephanie doesn't work in the office. So I talked to this guy, Shane or Sean, I can't remember, starts with an S. He's in tech, and he was familiar with my authorized.net, this $12 fee. And I said, look, and he says, well, do you still want to go along with that? And I said, no, I don't. I said, you guys I've been misled. You guys lied to me. I feel you guys have lied to me. If you hadn't lied to me, you obviously weren't listening to me, because I said no monthly fees, 0. That's my big stipulation. So, so he's like, okay, well, I'll take, so he took possession of it, and he said he would email me and then reach out to customer service and and then customer service would reach out to me, and then we would do whatever paperwork that would need to be done to close the account, etc. Okay, I'm good with that. Well, I got back in my car, drove home. Actually, I think I drove to the school. And then I wrote an email to Stephanie, because I figured from here on out, I'm just going to do everything on email. And I basically rehashed our conversation from the morning. And I said, you know what? I said, I didn't even wait for you to get back to me. I already returned it. I expect to be reimbursed for the $53.26. I want my account closed. Like, you lied to me. So anyway, so I have this whole long little diatribe that I sent her. That was towards the end of business day, and so I wasn't really expecting a response then. So the next day, the next morning, I received a response from her saying that which is Thursday the 11th, I think, that it would be passed on. Like, they would what is it? That they would, it had been passed on to management, and then they would take care of it from there. Okay, cool. So a week goes by, and I hear nothing, but I get a letter from Cascade Equipment Leasing, basically saying, hey, your account's been set up to be debited, and all this kind of stuff, and here's your account number, and this is the company that had charged me. Well, I figured, well, I haven't heard anything from Stephanie. It's been a week, a little bit less than a week. Technically, she responded on Thursday morning, so it's been just about a week, almost a week. So I call them, and I'm like, hey, so here's my account. I told them I don't want to do this anymore. They can't provide the services as promised. They lied to me. I told the gal the story. She was very, very polite, very nice. And I said, how do I get this money back, since you're the guys that are actually taking the money out of my account? And she says, well, sir, we have a non-cancelable agreement. And I was like, excuse me? Because I had questioned it at the time of the quote, and I had actually questioned it before signing, because I'm like, what is this? Don't worry about it. That's all worked into. I was told, don't worry about it. This is all worked into your overall 2.2% fee. Okay. And that I would not be receiving a monthly bill. So well, I mean, I could say they didn't lie to me. I mean, they may not, I wouldn't have been getting a monthly fee from them, maybe a different company, but not from them. So they didn't really lie to me, but they did mislead me. So anyway, so she says, we have this non-cancelable agreement. And I said, well, even if the company can't provide the services as promised? Yes. And I said, well, that's unethical. I said, how do I get out of this agreement? Because, and I had even told this to Stephanie, like, I'm willing to go to my bank and close all my accounts and then start them back up again, just so I don't have this company taking out any more money. Like, I'm willing to go that far. And so she's, So the gal's like, well, we do, since they misrepresented us and didn't tell you the correct information, we do have a misrepresentation questionnaire that we'll have you fill out, and then we'll investigate it, and then a resolution will come of it. I said, okay, cool. And I said, when can I expect that? She said, we'll send it out, as soon as we can. Most likely it'll go out the next morning. And when you get it, just fill it out. You have 30 days. You have 30 days to fill it out, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So, so I dealt with her. Very nice person. She, what is it? She ends up, I ended up waiting because I was going to email. I did. Okay. So then I emailed, wait, is it? No, I waited. I waited till Friday. Because I was like, I was hoping it had been by Friday. It had been over a week since I had emailed Stephanie, and I was like, hey, I was hoping that I'd get this thing, be like, hey, we can't, I'm sorry we couldn't provide service to you. Like an ethical business. I'm sorry we couldn't provide you with a service. We'll cancel your contract. We'll reach out to this company and say that we couldn't provide you service, and then we'll basically put into process of you getting this money back. No, none of that. So by Friday, I write her another email, and I was like, I haven't heard anything. I called, and I said, I called this company. I found out that it was non-cancelable. And I was like, can you say unethical? Like, this is. So anyway, so I sent her another email. And I was like, well, since you guys, I haven't even gotten an email from Shane or Sean or whatever his name was, or customer service. So I haven't heard anything. Now, so I was like, well, since I haven't heard from anybody, I am CCing the general customer service email. So I CC'd them. Now, the guy that I talked to originally on the phone, I think his name was Richard, anyway, so he was the tech guy that I originally talked to on the phone that was like, sorry, this is going to be, so I had CC'd him from the beginning. So, any email I could put on there so everybody knows what's going on. It's on there. Within 30 minutes on Friday, I get an email back from customer service saying, hey, we've created a ticket for your issue. Here's your ticket number. Okay. That was Friday. On Wednesday, Jim, how are you, sir? So on Wednesday, I get this email, or I get this letter from, basically I get the questionnaire from Cascade, and it's this two-page questionnaire, a lot of yes or no, a little bit of fill in the blank. And, but the first part is like, what happened? And that's me paraphrasing. But basically question one is kind of like, what and where did this happen? What did they say? And they gave me about 10 lines. So I wanted the entire story told. So I wrote 12-point font, 3 pages telling the entire story. And this took I credit my security days of writing reports, of getting all the details in, like on this day, this person, full name, or what I knew of their name, came into my store. It was about this time. This is my store's address, like all of it. 3 pages long. And then I fill out the questionnaire. I printed off, a copy of the quote that actually says 0 for the statement. And then, what is it called? and then all of my emails, all the email threads. So I sent all of that off yesterday. Now I called yesterday. Yeah, because I think, I got it Wednesday. I sent it off yesterday because by the time I was done writing, like this 3 pages took me almost all day. And I didn't even finish it before class. I finished it after class. So I sent it out yesterday, but I called customer service just to check on my ticket. And I was like, hey, I have a problem ticket with you guys. Can you guys check on it? Spoke to this nice gal. She says, well, let me check on that. She checks on it. And she says, well, management is still trying to decide an outcome. Okay. So it has been, since I basically told them I was done, it had been well over a week, almost 2 weeks. And the company, and even in my email from that previous Wednesday, I was like, so I haven't heard anything. Like you guys got me set up really, really quick, tried to get me set up really, really quick. But now that there's a problem, you guys are taking your time. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. But I don't know. We will see. I was really happy that I had that quote, and on it said statement. It said 0. So even in my letter, statement 0, that's what they were promising me. So I think it's time to drop the word attorney into a follow-up email. I'm going to give it another week. I'm gonna give them, because I sent the stuff off yesterday. Priority with tracking. It should get to Cascade, their offices on Saturday, which they're probably closed on Saturday, and they probably will not reopen until until Tuesday, because this is a holiday weekend. Once I get the paperwork, but I don't know. I think I will call next Wednesday to this company. And I've named all the other companies. It's Riverside Payments. That's who I'm fucking dealing with. Oh, and I got another story. This is so funny. So, but yeah, I'll call them. I'll either email or call next week. I'll call on my ticket to customer service, but I might just email, because I probably by now, and I might just email customer service just so I can have written tracking. But I don't know. I know some lawyers. Maybe I can be like, hey, so I know a Fed lawyer. Maybe I can sick him on him. Let's see. Okay, so as I'm writing this email, or as I'm writing this letter, so I get a lot of spam calls, and sometimes I answer them and sometimes I don't. Mainly I try and answer them so I can be like, could you please just remove me from your system? I talked to one, but the one company, the companies that have been calling me most recently are credit card service companies. And I talked to one company and I was like, I said, you guys have called me multiple times. I said, this is working on harassment. I don't want your services. I've asked you to remove me from your system. And I know it basically at some point, if they call again, I can prove that it's them, then I can win thousands of dollars. I can get these, and I don't know how to go through that process, but I know that it's a thing. Well, I talked to this one guy, this is the other day, and I was like, and he's like, well, I don't know how to, he says, I can put a note on your account that you don't want to be called, but it's a robocall. And I'm like, well, that's the problem. It's a robocall. So I said, well, can I talk to your supervisor? And the supervisor's like, well, yeah, we can't actually take your name out of the system because it's a different company that calls you for us. And I'm like, well, you can't like you can't be like, this guy doesn't want our services. I said, that's called harassment. So I actually told him, harassment. Yeah, fine. Continue calling me because I'm going to end up making money off of you guys. But what was really funny is I'm writing this this letter, and I get a call from a credit card service company, and nice guy. And it's so funny because I'm like, yeah, what are you selling? Oh, well, we're not selling anything. We just want to give you a quote. Dude, that's called selling something. Like, it's like, I love how they try and use these wonderful words of, oh, we're not selling you anything. We just want to give you a free quote. No, you're going to try and sell me on your services. That's what that is. Like, yeah. So anyway, so I end up, I don't really catch the company name, but I'm like, but it sounded familiar. Like, I caught it, but I was like, did I hear that right? So I'm like, what company are you with again? And he said, Riverside Payments. And I'm like, wait a minute. I said, what company are you think you're calling? And he goes, Handworker Martial Arts. So they have me as Handworker Martial Arts, not Artisan Martial Arts. Cause I use the same number for everything. And I'm like, okay, so that doesn't exist anymore. But I will say this, I actually have a claim against your company. And I was like, and I started to get a little bit emotional, little bit louder. And I was like, do you realize that you're working for an unethical company? Like, they lied to me. It's so funny. I just start going off, and I feel bad for the guy. I really do. But he's like, dude, he says, I just work here, man. And I'm sorry, it was so funny. I just work here, man. And I was like, and I say, well, I said, I said, I realize that, but please remove me. And I heard a click. So I wonder if I'll be getting a phone call back from them. Anyway, I thought that was really funny. I feel bad because I did kind of go off on the guy. Wasn't really his fault, but yeah, it was funny. Anyway, so that's my little adventure of being a business owner and not just being like, I'm not interested. I really like what I'm doing, but it's like, and I really wasn't doing the whole it because they can save me money. They're a local company. When you work for the devil, you're going to get burnt. True. But yeah, so so anyway, so I forget what I was going to say. Shoot. But yeah, I mean, it was more wanting to work with a local company, having somebody I can reach out to if I have questions. And they promised me the same stuff that I was getting with Stripe. No monthly payments, integrated seamlessly into my website. Yeah, and the other thing is they kept on like, and it wasn't just the gals that showed up to showed up to the school, but it was the tech guy and the tech guy and what's his name, and even Stephanie. They were like, well, you're just going to pass those fees on to your, because they were like, well, why would you be concerned about the fees? You're just going to pass those on to your customer. I'm like, no, like, I don't do that. Like, yes, I know, like, I know that that's something that Brannon does. Like, okay, so like Brannon and a bunch of other people I know, they use My Studio. Okay. And so I know in My Studio, when you run something, and I don't know if this is a default or if this is something that you can choose to either pass it on to your client or pass it on, pass it on to the customer or pass it on, or you eat the cost. But like if I buy something for Brannon, primarily the seminars, the business seminars, like the cost is there, and then whatever the cost of running the credit card is on there too. So it's like that's passing that fee on to the customer, and uh, and it's like, no, like I don't, like I for me I don't believe in that. And but this company was like, oh, why? It's almost like, why would you be concerned? Yeah, pay the monthly fee because the other fee is just being passed on to the client. No, I already charge what I charge because I already absorbed that fee. Like when I originally opened the school, I was trying to figure out how many students it would cost to be able to make rent, and I wanted to charge more than $150 a month, um, and in fact, 155 was the 155 was kind of that magic number. But then but then I was but then I was like, okay, well, with 155, then it costs this much, and then I end up getting like $149, or I can't remember what the fee was, but I was like, so that's why I raised it to 159, because I'm absorbing that cost, and my customers understand that. So I mean, I'm passing it on to them anyway, but I'm not passing it on to them as them getting, plus the software doesn't allow me to do that, which that is a limitation, but I don't see it as a limitation because just that's what, and I don't know if this is old business mindset, but I don't believe in nickel and diming my customer. So when I say it's going to be $159, it's not going to be $159 plus $4.90, 91 cents, I think, which is what the cost is, which ends up being 160 some dollars. So no, that's nickel and diming. If it's 159, it's 159. That's what it is. So, and the whole reason it exists like that is because I'm already absorbing it. I'm passing it on anyway. But yeah, so I don't know. I just, so at the same time, Comcast walks into my door. Now I have Comcast for internet at the school, and there's a new rep in the area, and he was there with, I guess, his boss. And so he's like, oh, and obviously they didn't do a lot of, research, because they actually asked, oh, do you have Comcast? It's like, actually, I do have Comcast. And I said, I pay too much. So the guy was like, oh, and so we talked about the account and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, I bet, he says, we don't actually have that plan anymore. I can actually get you faster rate at a smaller price. And I'm like, I like that. So we are in talks of that. But it was funny because they're like, oh, they saw my cell phone, because I told them when internet has gone down, I was like, I can get faster internet off my phone than I can through this backup. It's like a 4G backup thing, which is really designed for restaurants running credit cards, not streaming. So they're like, well, we could get rid of that, save you some money, go this route. So we're working on that. So he sees my phone and he says, as a Comcast business customer, we can give you a Comcast business rate on your phones. And I said, and so and I said, wait. And I gave them the nutshell story of the credit card service company. And I said, let me finish dealing with them before I end up adding stuff on. I said, now I am totally good on changing whatever internet package is so I can save some money. I'm good on that. But adding, like changing over from one company to another, you know, especially with my telephone service, I said, let me wait on that. Let me finish fighting with them first and winning, and then I will go over there. But it's actually like, numbers wise, I could save like another $100 a month just on my phones. 5 phones, unlimited internet, unlimited calling, still have the tethering on there. Like, I think they use Verizon. They use the Verizon network. So, but yeah, I'm, you know, so it is tempting, but I told them, I was like, no. And they were like, no, totally cool. They were very cool with me. They're like, yeah, no problem. You know, oh, and it's so funny. And the guy, when I mentioned the non-cancelable agreement, he goes, oh, and if you don't like our services, like you switch over and you're just like, I don't like this. He goes, go back to AT&T. He says, there is no contract with us. No, you know, no cancellation fees. You know, it's like, you know, we just send you a new SIM card. You put the new SIM card in your phone and you're good. And he goes, if you don't like it, yeah, just go back to AT&T or whoever you have now. I'm still like, really? Like, I was like, okay, now I'm thinking a little bit more, but I'm gonna finish fighting with Riverside and win, and then I'll go that way. But it's all funny that all that kind of is coming together. Let's see. Rob says, well, it's $159, except on Tuesdays when it's $175, Wednesdays where it's $190, every other Saturday where it's $165. And oh, looks like you're paying with a credit card, so it's an additional $325 per transaction, regardless of days. Yeah. So I don't know. I just, in fact, I can't remember who I was talking to. This was years and years and years ago. But they actually charged more. Like I can't remember who it was. But for their membership, if the person paid in cash or wrote them a check, they would actually charge more than on credit card, because that would require them to drive to the bank. It's like, you're taking time out of my day for me to have to drive to the bank to deposit this money. So it's going to cost you more. And I think they charge them like $10 more a month. And like, he even charged like he was doing monthly, like there was, you know, or even if there was a contract, it's like, okay, well, I'm on contract or I'm monthly, depending, whatever that bill was, it was that. I was just like, I mean, that's smart. I mean, I just thought that was kind of funny. So, but yeah, so that is, that's the adventures of being a business owner. Now for being and I wonder if I can share this. Let's see. I might have to bring this. Let me. Photos. I want to export this photo because I don't have my phone out here with me. In fact, I can't really remember where my phone is right now. But I'm going to export this and then I'm going to share this, because this, and I'm going to post this too. I want to post this on Facebook. But I'm going to share with you why I love my job. So this is a card I got from the parents of this student in the class. It says, we all want to thank you for being such a big part of Kaiden's life these past few months. You are such a positive role model and strong leader for him to look up to. We appreciate all the skills you have taught our son and continue to teach. We are so glad the universe put you in our path and that he has gotten to know you. Thank you. So like it's stuff like that. Like these are bonuses. These are the icing on the cake to teaching. Like the whole fighting with other businesses over dumb contract stuff. That's just, it's something that that sometimes just happens, but this is what makes it all worth it. Like, yeah, so it's just, it is, it was so funny because Kaiden comes in and he just hands me this little card that says Mish on it. And he says, yeah, this is for my parents. And I was like, okay, well, I'll look at this later. Thank you. And then, so after class, they had all left and I opened it up and I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like just amazing. I just thought that was awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly why you do what you do. That's awesome. Yeah. Now with that same gentleman, I have this, and let me share my screen again here. Let's see if I can't. Let's see. I think we can do that. So next Friday, I'm doing I've got a cotton candy and popcorn booth at Fircrest Elementary for their carnival. So we'll be there for a couple hours handing out popcorn and cotton candy. I wanted to set up like I didn't want to have just a generic sign of like, this is how many tickets it'll cost. So Kaiden, he's constantly like, oh, when am I going to end up on the slideshow? Because in the lobby on the big TV, I have this slideshow of pictures from classes and just the services that are provided, and then I also have what is it called? There was something else, but so I was like, I'll have Kaiden do something. So I make this. Oops, is that? So I put this up. I took a picture of him, and he's holding this sign. But the first one, so I basically the way it's set up is I'll make, I've got a cotton candy and there'll be text and all that kind of stuff. But I figured this would go on that plastic, just like a plastic stand up there at the booth. So people like, oh, that's how much it is. And then he's in there in his uniform. And this is actually the school he goes to. So I know I'm really feeding into this kid's ego, but he's just an awesome kid. And I just thought that was really cool. Now, check this out. This is actually the first picture. I took a couple different pictures. The first picture I took, I was like, tone it down a little bit. You're a little bit too excited. But this is actually, that's the first picture. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, that's just amazing. He's like, look. And, but I showed it to him on Wednesday and he's like, don't use that one. Don't use that one. So I might just end up with this one, but at the same time, I just think that's really, really cool. So, greetings from Germany. Hello, sir, or ma'am. I don't know that screen name. Anyway, so I'm that'll probably want to be one of my regular signs, because basically I just made a template and then I can just put whatever I can in there. So if it's like free popcorn, it'll be free popcorn. So and then of course, Caitlin, my one of my longer time students, she's on my window. So And it was so funny because what did I say to his parents? His parents thought this was so funny. I was like, uh, when I showed them the first pic, the first edit that I did, I was like, yeah, I said, I'm all about exploiting children. And they laugh. Cause it's funny. I mean, it's not, but it's funny. So, I mean, I figure if Nike can do it, so can I, you know? Um, but yeah, that is, that's going. And then, news on Jim's book. Jim and I recorded a couple more countries the other day. In fact, Germany was one of them. Bill, what's going on, sir? And so we're coming up to the end with his book. So I think he has a couple more things he wants to record. I think his wife wants to record some stuff. His brother already recorded stuff. So at some point that stuff will be either uploaded, or I told him he can just, once everything is done, he can just send it to me. But yeah, so it looks like this book will be ready by his birthday. So probably won't go up for pre-sale until the 1st of August. But I've already pre-made a page, but I do want to get in, and we've already started collecting pictures, and this is going to be a cool book. I'm really looking forward to it. So, and in fact, there's some things that he actually talks about in the book that I'm like, ooh, that's really cool. I want to try that. So, so I don't know, maybe some of these things I will, I don't know if I want to do it as a Q-Show Corner episode, or maybe a Q-Show, like for Q-Show people only episode. But there's a couple things out there that I was like, ooh, I want to try that. But it's more kind of like more advanced. I don't want to just put it out there into the ether, because I don't want people to get hurt. So, all right. So Bill just sent me a text, and I think he sent me a picture. Ooh, his new truck. So I saw so Bill, I saw your red truck for sale. Let me, can I, let's see. We'll share this with everybody. We'll share. Okay, it is. I sent you pictures of my new truck as an 03 Harley Davidson Supercharged. Damn. Okay, so share screen, window, Bill. Okay. Oops. Well, that didn't work. Hold on. Stop sharing. Present. Share screen. Window. There we go. That's what I want. Okay. So can I make this bigger? Of course not. Okay. So why? I don't know what you guys can see. There's that. There's that. That's a nice looking truck. And there's that. It's too bad I can't make that bigger on. See, if I do that, that just makes it smaller. Oh, wait, what is this? No. All right. Well, Bill, that's a nice looking truck. That's a nice looking truck. Oops. Only 100, dude, only 140,000 miles for an 02. That's not bad. That's actually, that's pretty good. So Well, I'll be in Indiana in September if you want to drive over. I won't be staying the whole week. It is, what is it? I'll be getting there Thursday evening and then flying out Monday morning. So, but yeah. Let's see. What else? Yeah. So that's kind of what's going on in my life. Now, Jim's book, I did say it's coming along. I'm very excited. I'm right now I'm editing what we did the other day because I'm caught up with what he sent me. So I'm currently editing Germany and Great Britain. That's what we recorded. I have thought of another book. I just have all these lists of books that I want to put out. I have, but I have another one that I'm going to start fleshing out. And yeah, I'm kind of excited. Just, things are just kind of moving along. One of the things that I've done, and I don't know how much into detail I've done, but I have a summer program for the summer. I have officially partnered with Burton Elementary and Fircrest Elementary, and I am currently working on Emerald, but it's basically being able to promote, help the PTOs and PTAs out at those schools by their students coming into the school training, and then what do you call it? And then they get 50% of the tuition for the summer. So, and it's, if they can do the summer and then they don't ever have to come back. If they do the summer and they want to continue, yay. But it's all, it's all what they, how they want to do it. So I'm good with that. I like it. I'm excited. Let's see, what else should I, anything else? Oh yeah. So, on the Star Trek front, Star Trek is, Strange New Worlds comes out on the 15th. Super excited about that. They have a new trailer out where we actually get to see Boimler and Mariner from in real life on, and it's super funny in the trailer. So I think I posted it on my Facebook, on my regular Facebook feed, but I thought that was pretty cool. I'm continuing on a little bit with, I'm still watching Enterprise, rewatching Enterprise, just kind of in the background, which is really funny because one of the reasons I'm kind of going back and rewatching some of the stuff is not just to enjoy it, have it in the background, but I had started rewatching it. And so Memory Alpha is, for those of you guys who don't know, is kind of like this fan-based database for, and it's based on, Memory Alpha is actually like the ultimate database in Star Trek. So, but they use that term, and it's this fan website, that you can go there, and it's got pretty much almost all the information on Star Trek. Well, when you go to the Vulcan Nerve Pinch, it has, here's the episodes that it's happened in. And, one of the reasons I'm going through is I'm watching to see, okay, well, what episodes is it used in? Who is it? Because and I know I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit, but for the next iteration of the Vulcan Nerve Pinch book, I want to have basically a list in the end, or at the end of the book, that says this is where it is, like, here's all the episodes where a Vulcan Nerve Pinch is used, who used it, the timestamp, and everything, not just, because I do have it a little bit in the book for specific ones, but this is like, I want the ultimate list of everything. Well, if you go to Memory Alpha, they do actually have, they don't go into detail, but it's just like, this is where the episode, this is an episode where it happens. Well, they don't have every episode at all. Like, there are several Enterprise episodes where a Vulcan nerve pinch is used, and it's not listed on Memory Alpha. And I know this because I was watching Enterprise, and I noticed this one scene where T'Pol nerve pinches either Merriweather or Trip. I can't remember which character it was, but she does. And I'm like, I don't have that one listed. Well, that's weird. So I went back, I checked Memory Alpha, and it's like, no, it's not even on Memory Alpha. So it's one of those where I'm like rewatching it to get all this information. So so I can have this ultimate list. But so let's see, what else is there. I think that's it. My brain is starting to melt. It's a beautiful day here. It's going to be even more beautiful. Yeah. So I think I'm done. I'm sorry. My brain is, here's another squirrel. I saw this on Amazon. Actually, I sent this to Rob. I sent a picture of this to Rob of this little, it's like a little Bop It type thing. It's like one of those Pop It things for just like a fidget thing. But this is a video game. Like, it's a Pop It thing, and then it lights up behind the Pop It, and then you push in and you can reset it, and it's like a game. It's like a little handheld game. And I was like, I need one of these. Like, I'm not a video game person, but that would be, instead of like zoning out on TikTok all night, or doing something brainless, like doing something. Yeah, they're like $16 on Amazon. So I have not purchased it yet, but it's sitting in my and actually it's not, the one I found, there's actually multiple different companies that sell them, but I found, one that it's like, oh, I like this one better. So yeah, so I might actually get one. I'll show it off next week. Let's see. In the Center Seat docuseries, supposedly when Nimoy showed Roddenberry what he wanted to do with a neck pinch, he did it on Shatner and knocked him out. At least that's how the story goes. I don't know. I'll have to watch. So that is one series that I want to see. I think you said what it was on Amazon. But from Nimoy's the way Nimoy tells the story is that he didn't go to Roddenberry. He went to the director of the episode, The Enemy Within. And I cannot remember I want to say Lee something. Anyway, so that director, because the story goes is that, or the way that Nimoy tells the story is that he was supposed to take a phaser and hit Evil Kirk over the back of the head with it. And Nimoy was like, yeah, I'm kind of a pacifist, and this character is kind of a pacifist. And, I don't want to be, I don't want it to be violence just to be violence. Actually, in my neck pinch book, I recount the story. But anyway, so he said, if violence is needed for the story, and he even gives Shane, the movie Shane, very violent story, but the violence makes sense. Is as if it's just violence and action to be violence and action, and it doesn't give the story, it doesn't enhance the story, then there's no point to it. So he's like, well, what if, this guy's an alien? We can do, we can say anything that this guy can do. So he did it on Shatner, and Shatner just played along. And the director was like, that's awesome, let's do that. So and so that's kind of how that came to be. And then they had a term for it in production. It's like, the Spock pinch or whatever, but that kind of, that's how the neck pinch came to be. But it's all written in the book of the history of how it came to be. So, but back on the docuseries, I do want to see that. I actually have Shatner's docuseries, The Captains, which he sits down with each captain, which I think is phenomenal. I mean, he actually got what's his name? He got see, and this is where my brain starts to melt. He got Avery Brooks. He got Avery Brooks to be in it too, which even Kate Mulgrew was like, yes, Avery Brooks. He got even Diana Muldaur was like, or not, Kate Mulgrew. She was like, you even got Avery to do it. Like, that's like, only Bill Shatner can do that. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, so I think I'm good. My brain is melted, and I'm almost finished with my tea. So, thank you all for tuning in. When the chat calls, you answer. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy your day. I know I'm going to enjoy mine. It's a beautiful day. I still got some classes to teach, but that's okay. So enjoy. If you guys aren't working on Monday, have a great, safe weekend. And I will see you all next Friday. So love to you all. Live long and prosper, and